Why did the frontman allow Gi-Hun to get so far, even when it jeopardized the very system he was sworn to enforce? To answer this, we need to look deeper into Hwang In-ho's story, his origins, his motivations, and the cruel philosophy that shaped him. Hwang In-ho wasn't always the masked enforcer of the Squid Games. Before his descent into darkness, he was a man bound by duty, working as a police officer. But life, in its relentless cruelty, left him disillusioned. His wife's death from acute cirrhosis was a devastating blow, and the system he believed in offered no help. Whether her death came before or after his decision to join the games is unclear, but it was a defining moment that shattered his will to live in a conventional sense. For In-ho, after the death of his wife, he lost all faith in humanity. He was filled with anger and despair. He had lost the will to live. That is when most likely one of the game recruiters found him at his lowest and recruited him into the games. The games offered more than just a chance at survival. They gave him a purpose. Some might enter for the money, but In-ho found something different: the thrill, the adrenaline of competing in a life-or-death arena. The raw exposure of human nature at its worst, this was his escape, his way to feel alive in the face of despair. Winning wasn't just a means to an end, it was proof of his philosophy, his belief that people, as he put it, are trash. When Gi-Hun entered the picture, In-ho saw an opportunity, not to root for him, but to use him as a tool to reinforce his worldview. Gi-Hun represented hope, compassion, and rebellion, everything In-ho had abandoned long ago. By allowing him to rise through the ranks, to inspire others, and even to start a riot, In-ho was setting the stage for a harsh lesson. He wanted Gi-Hun to see what he believed to be the ultimate truth. No matter how hard you fight, people will destroy themselves. Game by game passed by, with the players saying, just one more game, their greed consuming them until eventually a majority of the players were eliminated, many of them disappointed by the fact that more weren't. Game by game, the players' humanity left them. The massacre within the games was a perfect example. When the participants split into factions, those who wanted to continue the games massacred those who opposed them. Even when the riot escalated into open rebellion against the system, the players couldn't come together. Soldiers, desperate for freedom, fought alongside the resistance at first, but the majority stood by. In the end, the resistance failed and the games went on, unshaken by the chaos. This reflects a cruel parallel to the lives of the players. Outside the arena, they were all losers, whether they lost loved ones, their dignity, or their freedom to crushing debt. Yet, despite their struggles, life continued. The games mirrored this twisted reality. No matter how much you suffer, the machine grinds on and you're just another cog in its brutal design. For In-ho, this was the ultimate message he wanted Gi-Hun to absorb. The riot was never meant to succeed. It was a demonstration of his belief that humanity, when pushed to its limits, will always betray itself. In-ho wasn't rooting for Gi-Hun. He was setting him up to fail. Every act of kindness, every attempt at unity, every spark of hope, In-ho allowed it to flourish just long enough for it to burn out and prove his point. Even in the aftermath, when Gi-Hun and the resistance seemed to challenge the system, their efforts were ultimately futile. The game continued, the players died, and the survivors were left to continue playing the next cruel game we saw in the teaser. It's the same cycle that defines their lives outside the arena: loss, pain, and the crushing realization that their suffering is just part of the system. In-ho's philosophy, as twisted as it is, reflects the games themselves. He believes people are inherently selfish, cruel, and weak, and the games are a stage where this ugliness is laid bare. Allowing Gi-Hun to rise wasn't an act of kindness or hope. It was a calculated move to break him, to force him to see the world through the same bitter lens In-ho had embraced. In the end, the philosophy of the frontman is that everyone is trash at the end of the day. His thrill for the games, his belief in their twisted logic, and his desire to make others see the world as he does all stem from a life shaped by loss and disillusionment. By the time the mask went on, Hwang In-ho was no longer the man he once was. He was the embodiment of the games, a reflection of a world where no matter how much you fight, the suffering never ends because everyone is trash.